You know how many doozies I have to just look at like, oh, whoops, that's only on the internet and television forever.
Hi everybody, and welcome back to No More Ink, the official after show for Ink Master that also serves up some of the tastiest topics in the world of tattooing. I'm your host, Ryan Ashley, and joining me today is one of Season 8's fiercest competitors, my co-host on Ink Master Angels, and most importantly, one of my dearest friends, Nikki Simpson. What up, boo?
I'm so excited to be here with you doing this.
Yeah, I'm excited too. It's been a while.
We haven't done anything on camera in years.
Yeah.
It's so fun.
It's cool, right?
It's like flashback.
It is like a flashback. Let's dive into the flashback. Let's go all the way back and talk about Season 8 for a sec.
There has to be at least one of us that makes it to the end. I want a girl to win this year.
How long ago? 8 years ago?
Over 8 years ago.
Almost 9 years ago. When I competed, I was in my mid-20s. And now, somehow, I'm still in my mid-20s. How does that happen?
And yet we haven't aged a day.
I really feel like you and I, coming in at that time, we were this like cusp generation where we came in learning the old ways and practicing them, but also embracing all of this new technology and the new ways of tattooing and this new evolution that's been happening.
I was just out of using coils, coil machines, right before we went on Ink Master. I had just learned how to use a rotary. Let's take this rotary that I barely know how to use to a TV show. Let's go.
I'm terrified because I've only been tattooing now for 4 years, which is definitely not a long time.
When I competed Season 8, I had been tattooing for 4.5 years.
I think I was around like almost 4 years.
Because you made it, you were in the top 6, right? Top 6 and 3 years in.
But like, we gotta compare, like, look at the artists that happen in the top 6 now. The caliber, not to discount us, we did some pretty tight like, it was awesome. But the caliber now, I don't know if I would have made it to the top 6 if I had to compete against these kind of artists, you know what I mean?
Well, yeah, it's evolving, and I think that as Ink Master is becoming bigger and bigger and the competition is becoming more fierce, some of these artists are coming out of the woodwork that are just blowing everybody away. What's been going on after Ink Master? It's been, over 8 years. Tell us what's up.
I mean, so much happens in a decade. Since then, I moved to New York City. I got married. I opened up a tattoo studio. We're on a second location now, a newer location. It's just been a completely different experience because it was being this little baby artist that was, doing guest spots all around the country to creating my own little fortress, my own home, and really establishing my name in one of the toughest cities to crack in the world.
After you compete on Ink Master, your mind goes in a million different directions because you absorb so much information, you change so much from your professional life to your personal life because you evolve during that competition, right?
Yeah, man, I look back and I'm like, who is that person? Who's that little baby right there? I mean, I can't imagine what my career would be like without ever having done Ink Master. I feel like it just gave me more confidence to walk in this world, in this industry, especially as a woman. You're trying to figure that out and doing it on a grand scale like Ink Master. It was kind of like, bitch, you better figure out who you are because you're about to show everybody, and now you have to harness that. I think being forced to do that kind of helped me evolve into just a more higher self.
Well, I know you want to get into the juice of the second episode and what's going on with Ink Master now, but before that, we're going to revisit a prior season for Ink Remastered. Fans know that the end of each episode also brings a big elimination, but we decided to give former contestants a second chance at the tattoo that sent them packing.
Here we go.
So what's going on with the back ear there?
It's not finished. Somebody ran out of time.
Oh, the ears.
Today we have fan favorite and one of my favorites, Angel Rose, who we last saw in season 14 when she went home for a panther head, which was a 60-minute banger. It was ridiculous, that Gian actually designed. Let's take a look at Angel's do-over. But the problem with this original tattoo that Angel did wasn't the technique or the fundamentals, it was the timing. She just didn't finish it. She hauled ass, right?
That sucks.
Dude.
If it's traditional, it has to be so clean, and that's why it's so hard because there's nowhere to hide. She's doing like her style, that smooth black and gray, really like gnarly punched in black, that really gnarly looking black mag marked whip shading.
This one looks so much better. And it looks so much more like Angel Rose.
It looks like she did it for sure.
Yeah.
I don't even know who did the tattoo on the left. On the right, I can see Angel's shading because she has that specific look to her black and gray. It's not super, super soft. It's got that little bit of grit, but it's also really breathable, and she has that punched in black and really clean line work. That looks like Angel did it, and I love that you can tell she did it. She at least got a second chance to right her wrongs. You know how many doozies I have to just look at like, oh, whoops, that's only on the internet and television forever.
Yeah, that's true. I've had a couple bangers. I think she totally redeemed herself. What do you think?
Yeah, man, good for her.
Yeah, dude.
That thing is pretty tight.
Without any further ado, let's get into the episode. For anybody scared of spoilers, you gotta either change the channel or skip ahead, because we're diving in.
Before you get to battle against a young gun, you must first try to out-tattoo a young gun.
What?
Your tattoo will be directly compared to the young gun's tattoo,
Perfect.
giving us a side-by-side comparison.
On this episode of Ink Master, it's finally time for the 8 OGs to show us what they've got. 2 of them must go home before they even earned a shop, because there's only 6 spots on the OGs team. Their challenge was to tattoo the same style and the same subject as one of the top 4 young guns from the previous elimination challenge. So if this was season 8, you and I would both be on the Young Guns team, and now after almost a decade, we would be on the OGs with all of our wisdom and knowledge. So which would you have chosen? So your options would be the Japanese Kitsune mask, the Japanese Hanya mask, the American traditional Rose and Banner, or the new school boy holding frog with coffin.
I would go with the American traditional rose. I was brought up traditional, and one of the things I think I do take pride in is my knowledge of traditional and the methods to apply it correctly. Whereas with Japanese, there's so many rules.
But think about what happened in this episode. Jade, who has only been tattooing for 3 years, did a way cleaner, way more impressive American traditional tattoo than Pony, who's been tattooing for 24 years. You disagree?
If we put them side by side,
Look at the 2 next to each other. Which one has more pop?
love or name?
Love. Because of the rules?
If we're talking rules,
Well, who's talking rules?
there ain't no gray, like soft, buttery grays in traditional.
That is true.
There is none.
That is true.
I like his black whip shading. I don't like the color whip shading that he did as much. You know what I mean?
I agree.
It's like a combo of both.
Yeah. After the blind critique, the bottom 4 OGs must go head-to-head with each other, and the lowest ranked tattoos get to pick the subject matter. Maddie and Pony do black and gray realistic hand tattoos, which I loved. And Jarell and Andy Foe do photorealistic black and gray animals. Which tattoo would have you tackled?
I think I would have gone for the photorealism because I f***ing hate hands, dude. I hate doing hands. They're so stressful. And in a competition like this, if there's a moment where I could be unsure of myself, I'm staying far away from it. But at least with a photo, yes, there is more room for that to be critiqued harshly because you have this against this. But all I have to do is a better tattoo than the other guy. That's what it all comes down to. Just don't do the worst tattoo in the room.
All right, so we're gonna delve deeper into Ink Master, but before we get into that, let's play a little game.
Okay. Okay.
All right, let's do it. You're being timed.
I am?
No, I'm just kidding. Flower power. Pony Lawson's traditional tattoo that I didn't like. Is that what it is? Oh.
No.
Is that an axe? Coil machine. Robot tattooing AI artwork. What is that? A laser machine?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
Ding, 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 ding. Wait, is that the answer?
Kind of.
You just want to keep drawing?
Can I keep drawing?
It's fun, right?
It's a laser, but it does what?
Remove. Laser removal. Laser removal.
Yeah.
Zap Daddy.
Yeah.
Zap Daddy. Why
Yeah.
didn't you just draw a picture of your husband?
I'll make his face all crazy looking. He's too pretty for me to botch that. So it's technically tattoo removal.
Oh, tattoo removal.
Yeah.
Tattoo laser removal. I got whatever.
You would think I would know how to draw that. My husband lasers for a living. So.
Yeah, no,
Anyway.
whatever. It was good enough. We got it.
Moving
Ding,
on.
Ding, 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 ding. Okay, ready? Mm-hmm. It's on.
Go.
How fancy do I want to get with it? Actually, I'm gonna make it a little fancy.
Oh.
Just to piss you off.
You. I knew this is what you would do. Okay. Well, that's a note. It's a piece of paper. Look, you even have the little fold on the paper. I hate you already. This is already legible. Flash sheet. And they don't call me a winner.
You do have what it takes. All right, next up is tattoo review. Let's take a look at all of the art from this episode. Can't wait to see what you think about some of these. I'm sure that during the entire critique of the Young Guns, you guys had your own opinions. This is your opportunity to show us how those designs could have been better.
Today, the OGs had the tattoo in the same style and subject as one of the 4 highest ranked Young Guns.
We'll see how far experience gets you in this one.
Bring up the first tattoo.
Dude.
What?
Hold on a second.
Is Anthony serious with this?
I just have to say this tattoo, I would wear this tattoo. I think it is insanely gorgeous, and my favorite thing is how he can have something that's not that important, such as the rope, come in front and behind, twist and turn, and he's not only like creating perspective, but he's creating depth just with how he illustrated it, and he made this mask with no white. It looks white. That takes serious knowledge and skill.
So what about Manny's Hanya?
I do love the pale yellow against that really opaque gray. I think that's super awesome. What's throwing me off, it's just he's got that long head. It's just really, really lengthened. And because the mask is a longer version of it, he made it seem even longer by creating a super long flower, stretching it even more. I think the application is nice. I'm not blown away.
Nah.
That one's mine.
Super dynamic drawing. I feel like it has just a sense of ominous, some evil laugh coming from this piece.
Yeah, and I think it might be laughing at the other Hanya. What?
This thing is tight. What I love about how you can tell that he's an OG is the way he shaded it to where he utilized that open skin in a smart way. And I just love how he tilted it back on its side to create all of that depth inside of the nose. The nose is my favorite.
Me too.
The nose is insane.
Not only does the mask look hollow, right? You could tell it's hollow from the mouth, but he repeated that same technique in the eyes and allowed you to see that border on the inside, the thickness of the mask. That wasn't enough though, he also had to make it metallic. So this is Pony's American traditional rose and banner. I know this follows the rules, a third skin, a third color, a third whatever. It's boring, I'm bored. I was bummed at this tattoo. Look at the saturation of the red.
What does it take for you to be stunned by it then?
I don't know, full saturation, the black blending into the red in any spot, an interesting design in any way.
He could have definitely had more fun with the design. I do see some sloppy stuff. I do like the whip shading in the name.
I love the whip
That's
shading.
really cool.
I
love a good whip shade, and I do love that he's got that open skin. He is following the rules by not blending colors. He's just using black into solid fill with the leaves and stuff, but I do see a little bit of irritation on that corner, on that right leaf. I don't know what's going on there.
This was Andy Fo's pretty much black and gray Japanese kitsune mask. He took Alina's design and transformed it. He added a geisha, he added movement, flowers, all of that. What did you think about this one?
He added. Dude shot himself in the foot.
Yes,
Don't do too much than what's asked of you.
The cherry blossoms should have been placed in a more appealing pattern and almost looks like a crown of cherry blossoms.
The hand and fingers kinda don't look like they're the same hand.
When you do extra, you're giving the judges more opportunities to critique something.
This one was really, really, really clean in person. This is Stephanie's. I really think she crushed. I mean, look how clean and how solid and bold all of the saturation is in the rope.
I do love how she created depth with having that darker teal color behind the bow, and then she really pushed that super bright part of the bow to create that distance there. Even just the shading in the mask, she created that white look without having to really add white, and she did that with this really beautiful lavender color. I think this is technically almost perfect, and I think it's super lovely.
It was. What? What's that look?
Can I say it?
This is Jarrell's frog. Say it.
That's a ding dong.
It is a...
That dude's got his swipe in his hand right there.
It is
Tell me that's not the underside. It's even hanging low. It's got something coming out of it too at the end.
Oh my God! This tattoo was cool, the illustration was cool, but don't you think from, like, the frog is like red into orange into yellow into the greens, it's cool, and then it's just bright pink. Like, where's the light source? It hits everything.
We're calling it a frog, right? I'm gonna call it a frog.
It's a flaccid phallic
ding
frog.
dong, froggy boy.
Okay, so this was Lucy's Hanya. What do you think about this? The cheeks.
It's the cheeks.
What's the condition where you're like you literally have the fear of little holes?
Trypophobia.
Trypophobia. It's a really weird texture. The texture is uncomfortable a little bit, the like pitted cheeks, because it doesn't repeat anywhere else and doesn't really make any sense.
Yeah, it looks like kind of an odd choice. I do really like a lot. I love the shape of the leaves. The problem is it's not super smooth when you get really up close and you're looking at her technique. The shading at the top of the clouds, it gets a little sloppity-doppity.
I mean, those clouds, in my opinion, weren't even necessary up there.
No, she didn't need to add them.
So now let's look at the bottom 4 face-off tattoos. First up is Pony.
Bro, it's an immaculate tattoo where the light meets the shadow and then folds back on the hand. I really love the way that looks. Diamond's immaculate.
Let's give him a hand. Let's give him a hand. Should we clap? What?
Oh my God.
Dude.
This is insane.
It's insane.
Absolutely insane.
Out of nowhere, man. 5 hours.
Hands can be some of the most difficult tattoo subjects there are. To render it perfectly like this, that is something very, very few people in the entire world can do to this level. If he was about to go home, dude came in swinging, he's like, not today, this is how I lock it in. He crushed this.
Here's Manny's tattoo. And to be honest, it was a little dark and it was a little tonal, but it was also really cool. I really liked this tattoo.
I know why you like this tattoo. It looks
Why?
like a lot of your artwork with the pretty hands, the delicate hands.
I love it.
If it does look dark, it's because it is. I do know that when it heals, it's going to be a lot, more even.
Way lighter and softer.
I think just, sometimes it can look a little jarring when you're going for a more darker look. I think it's a beautiful, beautiful tattoo, but you can't touch Ponies.
But isn't it cool too how Manny, because he ended up in this face-off because of his Hanya mask. So he repeated the Hanya as the tattoo on this hand, just as one more little jab getting it in there before he left.
I mean, he does a lot of Hanya masks back home, right? Like, he does a lot of Japanese.
Yeah.
If you're gonna have a little bit of time on Ink Master, at least show people who the you are.
Yeah.
And if that's his signature and you gotta go home on it, like, hey, I'll remember him for it.
Yeah.
The judges have decided, Manny, you do not have what it takes to be Ink Master.
So next up is the face-off between Andy and Jarrell. Both of these were black and gray photorealism, which means it's not just a good realism tattoo. The competition is comparing the tattoo next to the photograph.
Giving photorealism compared to just realism, that gives you a new criteria to judge it on.
Yep. This is Jarrell's tattoo. This tattoo kept him in the competition, even though there were a lot of errors in this tattoo.
Is that a cover-up?
A lot that doesn't match the photo. I know,
Is this
it was
cover-up
dark.
day?
It was dark, but it was a better placement. I think the details were better. It was more readable, and it was less textured. When you follow the silhouette of the frog with the background, and the background takes the same shape, you're not sure what you're looking at because it's just some weird outline haze around it.
Right. If it was a lot softer, or if he did a lot less, then all of that really beautiful texture in the belly, in the eyes, it would have been a lot stronger. I think it's a nice tattoo. I really love the texture in it. I do think it's missing a lot of solid black. Contrast is not just dark against light, it's also texture against smooth. And because a lot of the same technique is repeated over and over, all of those really great moments in the trunk are not given that platform.
I mean, ultimately, it was those choices that sent Andy home on this, because when I look at the photograph, the trunk itself looks like a tube because it has a dark shadow on the bottom. It has a reflective light, but on the bottom, making it look like a cylinder. Then when you look under the trunk, in the photograph, you see how it's a little texture and then it becomes solid black, pushing the back of that elephant back. When you look at Andy's tattoo, he rendered all of these shapes that didn't have to be there, and it makes it so confusing to look at.
Andy, you do not have what it takes to be Ink Master.
We all have like W's and L's in life, but it's wins and lessons. Like, this is not a loss. Thank you for the opportunity.
All right, Nikki, now it's time for your State of the Tattoo Union address. As women in the tattoo industry, when we first started 12 years ago, almost 13 years ago, there were a lot fewer women when we started. And now as the years have gone on, I personally feel as if it's becoming more and more mixed and more neutral and more accepting and equal. Being a tattoo shop owner now in New York City, how are you feeling about the level of misogyny in our industry, and do you think it's getting better? Do you think it's staying the same?
I don't think it's a male-dominated industry as much anymore, whatsoever. I think there's so many women in tattooing now because that door has been opened. There's space for us now, whereas there wasn't as much space before, but what is important is what do you do with that space? Luckily, I did not have that hard of a time, but I also choose to carry myself in a way where you can't really with me, man. And it's a defense mechanism, and it's something that I've had to really harness over time to not only, you know, survive in this industry, but to command respect. I truly believe we teach people how to treat us. I think it's becoming more of an open space for us now, and that's great. I feel like some of the best tattooers in the world are women right here.
Yeah.
It's really about what we do with that space. How do we make space? How do we come in and kick down the doors and say, like, this is my room?
I'm so happy we did this.
Me too.
It's been too long. I know where to find you, but the rest of the world doesn't. So how can people get a hold of you?
You can get a hold of me through my link on Instagram, but you can find me at Everblack Tattoo Studio. We have a brand new revamped studio in Bushwick, and we also do laser tattoo removal. My husband owns Gotham Tattoo Removal, so not only do we put them on, we take them off for you. Find me at Everblack.
We call her husband Zap Daddy. Okay, so
Zap Zaddy!
all right, thank you, babe. That's it for this episode of No More Ink. Don't forget to watch this season on Paramount Plus, and don't forget to subscribe to the Ink Master YouTube channel for everything Ink Master.